let's begin unit number 2. Unit number 2, we are studying, or actually we are understanding the human body systems. So, before we delve into this, I want everybody to take this sheet out that is in front of you. This sheet in front of you. So I want everybody to focus on these words here. Hopefully everybody can see them. We've got cells, biology, organs, reproduction, organ systems, organisms, response to stimuli, multicellular, unicellular, etc. I want those words to marinate in your brains. And I want you to look at the first 2 columns, starting at the left and the right. What I know and what I want to know. I want you to spend 5 minutes to write down everything that you think you know about cells, organs, all of those words. All right? So nice and quiet. Let's put our heads down. Let's put our thinking caps on. And let's write down everything that you know. Going to begin. We are going to start this unit right now. So I know you all saw this. We have Minecraft Steve. And we have Roblox. I don't know her name. And we also have Timmy the Rock. Yay! Timmy the Rock is made a debut in science class.
Where's the eyes?
Yeah, I didn't have the eyes.
Why didn't you just take a picture?
Yeah,
Timmy's beautiful.
I actually put that in before. All right, folks. So, just like matter, I like to show you things that start off small and eventually get to something large. So we have to look at what we're actually studying, understanding the human body system. So the first thing we need to look at is that this is a form of biology. Does anybody know what biology means? Maybe Lexi?
Is it like stuff about yourself? Like we're learning stuff about the human.
That's warm. You're warm. You're on the right path. Yes, Everly?
What's inside of like a frog or a dog or a human or everything.
Very good. You're on the right path. So essentially, biology is the study of living things. Myself, Miss Ball, everybody in this classroom, we are living things. Now, one cool thing about biology is they really like organization. They like order. So they like to classify things from small to large and put them in order. So the first thing we're going to do to order things is we're going to determine what is living and what is not.
Okay.
So what are some characteristics of things that are living? I want you to put your thinking caps back on. I want to hear some ideas. Let's hear it, Wesley.
They have a heart.
They have a heart. Very good. Alex.
Lungs and muscles.
Very good. Carter.
Brain.
Brain. Nice. Natalia. Characteristic or characterize things to be living. They must have these 4 things to be considered living. They must have order. We'll get into that. They must be able to grow. We as humans, we start off as babies. We turn into kids like yourselves. Then we turn into big kids like myself. And then your grandma and grandparents. They get older. R is stimuli. So this is actually response to stimuli. I just couldn't fit in the box. So when you're hungry, you smell pizza. That smell right there, that's the stimulus. Your brain's telling you, I'm hungry. I need to go eat. So you go and eat that pizza. That is response to stimulus. And finally, reproduction. Making babies.
Ooh.
Or in the cell world, mitosis and meiosis. That is the splitting of the cell. That is reproduction on the cellular level. So remember those 4 things. They're very important. We'll revisit this many times. So let's review living and not living. And I want you to tell me why it's living and not living. Let's start with coal. Yes, Britt.
So it doesn't have a brain or a heart, and it can't breathe, and it's just a lump.
It is a lump of coal. Nobody wants coal. Very good. What about grass? What about grass? Maddie?
It's a living because it starts as a seed and then it grows.
It does grow. Nice. Does grass eat?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Water.
It does.
It needs water and sunlight.
It does.
Oh,
Be nice and quiet. What about waste? Does it get rid of waste? Does grass do that? Yeah, it does. Here's an interesting one. We talked about this in our first unit. What about fire? Is fire considered living? It's moving around.
No.
Bacteria. Everly.
Living
Living. But why though?
because it can grow.
It can grow. Can it reproduce? Can you get more bacteria?
Yes.
Yes. Alex, you want to add to this?
Sure. Yeah. I know what gold is.
What is gold? Oh yes, I skipped gold. Sorry about that.
It ain't a living thing because it is a mineral, and minerals don't have parts. Alright.
They don't have parts.
And they also cannot reproduce.
Unfortunately for all of us, gold does not reproduce. That'd be very good for all of our wallets. That would be very nice. But gold does not reproduce, so therefore it is not living. Let's move on. So, the building block of all life is this tiny, tiny, tiny little thing called a cell. We are made of trillions of cells. Trillions. Different cells have different jobs. The way you want to look at it is a factory a worker in a factory. That worker has one specific task, and they do that task. That is what a cell is. So before we get into this, we're going to watch a little video, because I know you guys like. So folks, we just saw. It was kind of weird, wasn't it? Right? Yeah. Was it a little gross
Yes.
No.
when it went up the nose?
Yeah.
Gross. Do we have a couple questions about the video before we continue, Gracie?
It was kind of like a movie where it was like doing music and different things like that.
It was meant to get you guys excited about biology and understanding the human body systems, because you know what? Biology explains everything there is to need to know about human bodies and what we can do, which in my opinion is super interesting. Yes, Everly.
I found it was cool when it said you could fit 100,000 cells in a pin.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Right on the tip of the pin. So the smallest
so
portion of that
tiny.
pin. 10,000. Or how about the 100 trillion cells that we're made up of? 100 trillion. I don't even know how many zeros that is. That's a lot.
But like, it would only take.
So actually, trick question here. This is actually good. Is a virus living or is it not living? Let's put your hands up if you think it's living. Does anyone think that it's not living? The correct answer is it's not living.
What?
Viruses actually change healthy cells and they reprogram them to do bad things to your body. And it reproduces.
That's what the coronavirus is.
Viruses are not living. But I digress. Let's continue. Or not. All right, so we've learned about cells. We're going to get more into that. But I want you to know how they are classified. So there's two sorts of classifications when it comes to cells. There's unicellular. Oh my goodness. Mr. Bowles can't speak today. Unicellular. So that is one cell. An organism that is made of one cell. And then there's multicellular, like us. We're multicellular organisms. We have a bunch of different cells doing a bunch of different tasks, and that creates us. Okay. Technical difficulties up here. Nope, not again. No video. Don't worry, I can edit that out. All right, here we go. Little class. Oh. Class discussion. Hello, I'm Pete, the paramecium. That is a unicellular organism right here. This is one cell right there. But then organism A is a horse. Look at these two living organisms below. What makes organism A more complex than organism B? Adeline.
Because
All the systems?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Everly's right. You can't see all the systems. Let's look at these pictures a little closer. Now, we're not going to get into what is exactly in the cell, but does the cell have a heart? Does it have a brain? Does it have a digestive system? A skeleton?
No.
Muscles?
No.
No, it doesn't have any of that. So those are all systems that it is lacking. So organism A, does a horse have a heart? It has a brain. It's got a skeleton.
Yeah.
So let's continue. Now that we know that organism B is a little less complex than organism A because it doesn't have those systems. So let's look at this a little closer. Order and organization. That is why those two are different. So before we get into this, we're going to have a look at another video. All right. Couple questions. Gracie.
I thought it would say it's like the thing of growth.
Pardon?
But I thought it would say like at the end when it said it's like of organization. I thought it would say like the thing of growth because it was all growing into bigger.
Now you're right. It is growing. So technically that is just how things are classified. So we start with a cell. We've got one cell. Let's say that it is a muscle cell. If you have a group of cells that are all doing the same thing, you've got tissue. That tissue is all doing the same thing. That's muscle tissue. Say it's muscle tissue for your heart. All that muscle tissue together performing the same task will create an organ such as your heart. Your heart and muscle tissue also makes all your veins, your arteries. Now it's become your circulatory system. So it's just about how it's from small to large. That's the way you have to look at biology. They're always classifying things from small to large. They're trying to put things in their columns. They're just trying to organize everything because there's so much to learn in biology, which is really cool. Yes, Lincoln. Yes, sir. Carter.
My dad plays Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and when he does a final kill, I actually get a glimpse of the digestive system.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Not quite on topic, but interesting. Yes, Nico?
So what is our flesh made out of then?
So, our flesh. So we have our dermis, which is the outermost part of our skin. Then we have our epidermis, which is that little bit underneath our dermis. That's where all your hair follicles are. That's where all your nerves are, your veins are. And then we've got a fatty layer underneath that. That's what keeps us warm. That's your insulation. So what I'm going to do, a couple more questions. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually look at our sheets again. And we're going to see if we can fill out some more information based on the things that we've learned so far today.
Can I go to the washroom?
Yes, you can. Yes.
But how does your hair grow like fast, like bigger?
Are you talking to me in particular?
Yeah.
Oh.
No,
I just-
no.
So how does our hair grow?
Longer. Yeah.
Longer. So that's hair follicle cells. So they're multiplying. So what they're doing is they're reproducing. They're getting longer and longer. Yes. Sienna. Yes, you can. Everly.
Did you get a haircut?
Did I get a haircut? Yes, I did get a haircut. So what needs to happen is that my cells need to reproduce and grow me new hair. That would be fantastic. Adeline. Yes, you can. All right, folks, just because we don't have much time left, we're going to look back at our sheets, and we're going to write down all the information. So I do want to collect these at the end of class. Pardon? If you've learned something today, it'd be fantastic if you write it down. So I'm actually going to go back to a different slide. So this is the important one. Does anybody have any cool questions or anything that they want to discuss or they're uncertain about? Yes.
Okay, so I wrote this down on my sheet. And how many organs do you have in your body?
That's actually a really good question. That is a very good question. I should have researched that. How would you find that out?
Google.
Want to look it up for us so you can let the class know? Other questions? Yes, Logan. Guys, let's pay attention to Logan. He has a question.